Hey, I'm Melissa from the Riot Esports photo team. We shoot thousands of photos on any given day, so having a reliable storage device is super important to us. That's why we love the Samsung T7 Shield portable SSD. On a shoot like today, we start sorting and editing right away. With T7 Shield, we can seamlessly transfer massive files in seconds. These drives are also water resistant, dust resistant, and drop resistant, which means we can work anywhere, and we don't have to worry about losing files.
So you're predicting EG.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because of the pattern. Nothing else.
They're better, too.
Golden Guardians, a statement in game number 1. Out on top in the series so far, punching their tickets to North Carolina, playing finals weekend for the first time.
Last few months have been a journey.
That was us.
Fair play. Fair play.
Hey, at least we dragged closer in with us on that screen. We did. We weren't the only ones with a tough take. Welcome back, guys, after that game. That was a slobber knocker.
That was one.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad for energy
banger.
on that one. That looked like an unlosable game. But now we're going on to Evil Geniuses, and there's a lot to talk about with this team, especially since, yes, as we said, a lot to cover. The team was nuked.
Yeah.
Got a new lineup, and we're talking about Jojo because his last performance was so exceptional, and it reminded us about the journey that started us here when he had an inspirational rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, he was such a difference maker on this EG lineup. I know he just came in like incredibly motivated to prove himself because he was so hyped coming up out of academy. Like talking to him, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be the NHOV, I'm going to be great. And he backed it up in his play. And he also, I mean, the other thing people are pointing out is he had the team around him to do it.
Yeah, the last year and a half is a blur, but you got to remember how hot he started and then how badly EG actually did finish the last split. They never really turned it on throughout the regular season. It didn't work in playoffs, and then they decided to blow it up.
It was weird because I remember by the tail end of last year, that duo of Inspired and Jojo worked so well. And so being able to see how it kind of regressed a bit just because of Jojo's personal performance. And it was small things where, like, they would win games anyways during the regular season, but you know, he'd get cut off a few times, either on side lane or in team fights, and like he recognized that personally, and they would make jokes about it as a team, and that's how it felt fun because they were winning anyways in the regular season, and pointing like holes is like, hey, we're doing well, except this.
We'll be fine once we get to playoffs. Like
Exactly.
working the kinks out, and then as we just saw, they got beaten by Golden Guardians.
Yeah, he was running it down in like 65% of the games.
Yes.
Like a substantial percentage of the games.
And he recognized it, as you can see from the tweet. Play like Az, this is a wake-up call, see you in summer. Like, that was after the best of 5.
Yeah, March 31st, 2023. And I think that tweet can kind of encapsulate the entire split. And he even said during my interview with him yesterday that he could take accountability. And then he tweeted this afterwards, after the Gragas game.
Yes, I'm back. He had an insane carry performance there, and the team as a whole was not as bad as people thought.
Yeah.
They're not, EG's roster, not as bad as you think. I'm going to stick with that. Depends how people's thinking changes. I can't say that forever. But based on the initial reaction and the stuff I was seeing in Reddit threads when they were dropping the 4 players and picking up the 4 players they have now, people did not have high expectations for this team at all.
Yeah. And so, look, all the analysis, valid.
Yeah.
You've talked about Reddit analysis, valid. So we put our minds and our hands, applied work to the test to sum this up for you people at home.
Which JoJo is it going to be?
Someone make this easier for us. There's a lot of words on the screen. Can anyone run up and just tell me what's going on?
I'm actually the worst person for this because I'm the shortest. All right.
You can jump.
Woo! We have Buff JoJo over here. First All-Pro 2022 Summer, ranked 6 in Korean. So this is, I'll go over the old ones. Qualify for Worlds, Spring winner, perfect game from yesterday, Rookie of the Year. KDA 118, 86, 235. I assume that's from all of us.
That's got to be something good. That's
anyway,
JoJo
this is the big one going into this like offseason, right? Rank 6 in Korean solo queue in 6 days.
Then we have Cheems over
What's on
there.
his feet?
The Crocs.
Okay, just making sure.
I think Isaac, our graphics guy, really wanted to Photoshop Crocs on buff JoJo's feet. Because he like gets his strength from Crocs.
Let's pan it over to the other one too, just because you have the Doge and then you have Cheems. So you got to make sure you don't accidentally have Cheems.
So 5th in deaths. I remember Jatt, you were already bringing up his deaths when he came in. You were comparing him to Harry. Every teammate left him, and then there's a sad picture. Missed MSI, obviously, because EG lost to Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians ended up going to MSI. So which one are we going with?
We already got the sneak peek.
I'm going to say we're going to get buff Doge.
Yeah. Look.
I'm on Doge side today.
He's pretty buff. Maybe not as chiseled as his Doge, but he is looking really good.
I will say, as an owner of a Shiba Inu, Cheems can arrive at any moment. Just a firework goes off and it's over. You just never know with Shiba Inus when they're going to turn into Cheems.
And it's a fun dynamic seeing him on this team. Now he's the guy that's kind of like, of course, the longest one on the team, and is probably going to try and carry on that culture. So there's a lot we're expecting out of him. A lot of the players are expecting out of him. I wonder what you guys are expecting. The casters there, Gabby and Azael. Let's hear from you guys.
Welcome back to the booth. I wasn't just chugging water at all. So you say something. I still feel like I have water going down.
Hello, we're back. Yeah, we'll have to see. You know, both teams again. There's been, just be straight up. There's been a lot of stomps so far in the first 2 days, and we've had a lot of matchups today of teams that were on opposite ends of that. Golden Guardians got clapped up by Cloud9 yesterday. EG had a perfect game. They could not have gone better for them. And I mean, the fun part of the start of the season is kind of the overreactions, right? Yes. We have a 1-game sample size, 100%. Right? You're kind of ready to be like, 100 Thieves, they're going to win. EG's the best, you know? So we'll have to see over the course of a couple games how they're going to be able to do. But yesterday, EG looked really good. Jojo was kind of going crazy and was obviously feeling himself after that game. But we have to see with a big test here against Golden Guardians, how will EG look? Are they going to be able to keep that momentum going? Because there's kind of a lot more unknowns. You know, so much change with their roster. I want to say this is like the biggest roster change we've ever had mid-year that I can recall, at least. You know, 4 out of the 5 members being changed between spring and summer is just not something that really ever happens in the LCS. So it's a lot of opportunity here, I think, for some of these guys on EG to prove themselves, right? Because when you look at a lot of these members that were added to the EG roster, it's people that have had some ups and downs, and most recently have kind of had some downs, right? You know, Revenge, I think if you talk to pro players, they spoke really highly of him when he was on Immortals, but things didn't really work out the way they wanted on Immortals, and I think the community has been very negative on him as a result. Armao has been, you know, really good in the academy, but never really been able to kind of make it stick in the LCS. So, you know, he's kind of trying to prove himself. You know, Unforgiven went from like first team All-Pro in LEC to being stuck in academy in LC, you know, in NA. And Eyla just got replaced by the guy that trash talked him all year in Vulcan. So it's like all of these guys really do kind of want to prove themselves. Jojo as well went from having an amazing first year to sophomore slump, whatever you want to call it. He was not good in spring compared to how he was the previous year. So everyone on EG, I think, is really coming out hungry to prove themselves and to show how good they are. And I think that really was demonstrated yesterday in their amazing game that they had. So now we have to see, can they make it work here against Golden Guardians, who is, of course, our second place team in spring. And is going to be one of those teams that they're going to have to get past if they want to try to make it to Worlds.
And the last time these two teams played in spring playoffs, Golden Guardians knocked out Evil Geniuses with the 3-0 in round 2. But again, GG's roster remaining entirely the same, but EG is sporting an entirely different look outside of mid lane. I feel personally that the change on EG is emphasized by the fact that while Jojo is now the most veteran player on EG, he's still considered a very young player in the league.
It's his second year. Yeah. And not even done 2 years, right? He's 3 splits in to his career. And yeah, like it is a weird situation to be in, where you are kind of the most veteran player, but on this orc, not in league overall. Some of these guys have been playing for a lot longer. Eyla has been around for a really long time. You think back to OPL days and whatnot. Armao has been in the scene for a very long time as well. Revenge now too has been around for quite some time. So definitely surrounded by some guys who have been around for a long time, but really looking to prove themselves. It is going to be K'Sante first pick. Gori, I feel like has been playing it more often than not lately, but Licorice, of course, can be playing it up in that top lane as well. We did see Jojo bringing out the Gragas yesterday, so could be Gragas mid, could be Gragas top. We know that there are the options to flex that around. Yuumi going to be banned away, so Eyla not going to be able to get his hands on that. Melio, is banned out as well. Pretty much all the big enchanter options are getting banned out besides Lulu. So it'd be interesting to see if someone wants to go towards, Zeri Lulu, because I think that would be a good 2-3 here for Golden Guardians. But, their bot lane has always been kind of like more on, I feel like the scaling side, or sorry, the aggressive side. Like they're one of the bot lanes that really does like to play some of those aggressive picks. We saw them playing Lucian Nami yesterday, if I recall correctly. They were one of the guys that really did like to go towards that. Lucian is really strong on this patch, so if you're a Lucian fan, as I know Stixxay is, not surprising me that they're going to go towards it.
And the Lucian locked in for Stixxay, and we'll see if paired with the Nami once more. It seems to be exactly that. And even in Golden Guardians' game against Cloud9 yesterday, where clearly they did want to try to get those early advantages, but it didn't quite work out that way. Eventually, it came down to Berserker being fully online in a later team fight closer to that 25-minute mark, but there were still some great Aqua presence from huhi. I would still say that Gori also was doing well in lane and offsetting any pressure. They just couldn't really make anything happen in the way that they needed to for that comp that was indexing earlier. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's kind of one of the things that I felt they really kind of flubbed with yesterday, was the fact that, when you're playing Lucian Nami, yes, it's a little bit different on this patch, but one of the things that we always looked to was how teams played around the one-item power spike, right? And how people are actually looking to really utilize that power when you get post 6. The culling is so big to be able to send your Lucian Nami mid, use the culling to get chunks, use that to get priority around dragons and around heralds and things like that. There's so much pressure to do that when you're playing against a Zeri or an Aphelios or whatever that is just going to do higher DPS than you. You really need to be utilizing your range to make things happen and to get chunks and to get pokes, and you have to be looking for those aggressive plays. And in yesterday's game, I couldn't remember a single moment where Stixxay was able to find one of those plays with huhi, where they were able to find that opportunity to go in, get aggressive, chunk someone down before the play happens. So we need to see more of that. We need to see that confidence. We need to see those windows capitalized on from the Golden Guardians bot lane here, because again, they are going to be facing up against a bot lane duo that doesn't really have to do anything. They just kind of have to sit there and farm, and as long as they're not being pressured and they're just trading waves back and forth, they're going to be really happy.
And Unforgiven, somebody that you do not want to scoff at on the side of evil geniuses, playing the Lucian yesterday, but trading up for the Aphelios this time, and now a different look with Jayce. Yeah, Jayce coming through, and Jojo has played Jayce mid. We know that Revenge can play Jayce as well, so this is, again, multiple flex picks here. If the Jax comes through, we'll see where they want to flex things around to try to get that matchup. Instead, it's going to be the Nautilus, so I am expecting that it's going to be Nautilus jungle. I know I mentioned that has been getting some play earlier. You can still do Nautilus mid, so there's a lot of priority on flex picks. It feels like in these drafts, really trying to hide where things are going. We're probably going to get a lot more clarity with their 5th pick on where everything is going to be. We know where Lucian Nami is going for sure. The K'Sante, the Nautilus is a little bit more of a question. With Rumble coming through, there's honestly still possibilities for things to get flexed around. Like, especially in solo queue, you do still see Rumble in like the entire top side. He could be in jungle, he could be in mid, he could be in top. So it'll be interesting to see where Golden Guardians does land with that. And it's going to make this 5th pick a lot harder, potentially, here for EG. If they were looking for some sort of a clever counter pick or some sort of a specific matchup that they could be going towards, that does get more difficult. But it's going to be the Sejuani, so it is going to be solo lanes here with the Jayce and the Gragas. I'm expecting the Gragas will be top and the Jayce will be mid, but there is the ability to change things around. We'll have to see if they want to do that. So much flexibility on Golden Guardians till the very end. As now we're getting the final switches of the squads. Yeah, and they're still just kind of trading around back and forth, so you don't know for sure exactly where things are going to end up. But I think it is going to be Gori playing K'Sante mid, whether it's river jungling the Nautilus or the Rumble. They keep swapping back and forth, so we're going to have to wait and see. Nautilus, though, really good early ganks with that as a jungler, and it is going to be that coming out
I will say, at top side of the map, though, there's like really good value, you know, from Bark Treads and anti-CC. There's quite a bit of magic damage on the Golden Guardian side. Jungle top is going to be a lot of magic damage. Even Lucian Nami, you know, with the Nami damage coming through, and things like the Gale Force, you know, can be a fair bit of that magic damage coming out. So we'll have to see, you know, if there's going to be difficulty kind of getting through what the front line is on the other side later in the game.
Golden Guardians taking on Evil Geniuses for our last game of the day of Day 2, Week 1, Summer Split 2023. And I do enjoy seeing that flexibility in draft continue for Golden Guardians, something that kind of coincided with a lot of their rise to prominence in spring, and now not backing off of it a single bit here in summer. But Evil Geniuses riding a high off of that perfect game yesterday against Energy, and now looking to continue with that momentum forward for a hopeful 2-0 for the Evil Geniuses fans.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to make it happen. Gale Force, of course, was actually changed to physical damage. You know, I said that's part of the magic damage, but Lucian Nami still doing a fair bit of magic damage mixed in there, you know, with all the Nami damage. Will be interesting to see how this top lane does go. Both of them playing Comet, you know, so going to be AP Gragas. Of course, it is going to be AP Rumble. That is obviously known. It's not going to be Ignite Rumble, so not going like full all-in for laning power. But a lot of this is going to be about the poking and the prodding. You know, how many of those Electro Harpoons can you actually land versus how many of the barrels can you land on the Gragas? Who can actually, you know, utilize that to get chip, to get that push? Can be really, really big. Nicely done there from huhi. Just bounces the W off of Gori. So going to be able to get both his first Mana Flow ban proc and 20 gold, which is always really, really nice. Just get that Mana Flow ban on cooldown and helps you stack it that much faster.
With Golden Guardians bot lane again, looking to see if they can harass early, keep up that pressure, try to create advantages over on the bot side. I do want to see how River ends up doing on this Nautilus jungle. He played the Jax yesterday, so definitely taking that flex role of a champion and putting it to work now 2 times in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't a big fan of the Jax, you know, wasn't really able to get too much done in that game. You know, I definitely understood the thought process. You know, he's playing against double AD carry. Counter-Strike has a lot of value, but it can be difficult to kind of close the gap. I do think here on the Nautilus, it's a lot easier to get that value, especially with multiple squishy carries on the enemy team. You throw down that ultimate on the Jayce, throw down that ultimate onto someone like Forgiven, and things can get tough for them. You do have really good follow-up, and it's that guaranteed lockdown that you always love to have drafted as a Rumble player, right? Because someone locks them down. You throw the Nautilus ult, you get the passive root, you throw down that auto for the root as well. And that is going to hold them in place for the equalizer, which is going to make things really, really difficult potentially for EG. But Unforgiven is playing barrier, and the Lulu has heal as well. So that is going to make it a lot more difficult to actually be able to burst them down. Oh, River's just here straight up.
From the River, Unforgiven seeing that and gets the speed up from the heal from Eyla, who's now collapsed upon against this wall. Does manage to get out flash forward from Stixxay, burn-in, but there's also Sustain coming on the side of Eyla. Armao making his way down, but shouldn't be able to collapse unless huhi and Stixxay overstep forward. Has the ward in the bush. Will run into River pretty immediately, but over the wall he goes.
Yeah, just gonna get a little bit of a chunk there. You know, if River hadn't been there, he could have looked for a wraparound play. At the end of the day, you know, it's not bad, but I do think River misplayed it. I think the initial part of the gank was great. Going for the flash auto is how you want to start this out. He doesn't go for Unforgiven because Unforgiven is too far back, right? The heal is used for the move speed there, so target the Eyla. What you want to do, wait for the flash to be spent. He will die if he doesn't flash, so wait for the flash to be spent, then hook. There's no need to actually go for the hook there. You have the red buff slow on him. He's going to be getting chased down. Eyla will die if he does not flash. So you wait till he flashes, then you hook, and that's how you look to actually guarantee that. And I think had he actually been a little bit more patient with his hook, that is going to be a first blood on Eyla. So it's going to be a play that River definitely wants back. Ooh, Hex Flash.
Wait.
He's in the brush, so he's going to be Hex Flashing in the brush. Yep.
The dredge line connects the slam down. Gori looking to finish off. huhi here for the assistance if needed, but Jojo dished first blood right there on the platter, taken by Gori.
Yeah, that's really nicely done. And you can see that little blue icon by the ward. That means they knew where that was warded. They pinged where that was warded. So that was played around perfectly. This wasn't just a guess on, maybe put his ward here. I'm going to try the Hex Flash. They tracked where the ward was put down. They used the Hex Flash to actually avoid that vision, and then they nail the hook out of the brush. So really well played by River. You do not want to just be AFK farming on something like Nautilus Jungle. It's about the early game power. It's about that incredible gank assist that you do provide. huhi's got to be careful here, though.
sees Armao, throws out a W for a little bit of poke. Gori teleporting back to lane now, so huhi a bit safer than before. But I think for River specifically, that Nautilus, if he continues to keep up this pressure with that Q, it very much aligns with his play. The same player that likes to play J4, wait in those bushes, go for that initiation. And as you were saying, if he was just going to go and try and farm and not make anything happen, it would be a problem. But clearly not approaching this game with that mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great point, right? When he first came in, is this going to be a dive?
Oh, Licorice under the tower. Revenge goes down in the solo, but it is traded back a little too much aggro, but some action in the top lane.
But that was really nicely done, and that is totally worth. Anytime you can dive with the wave stacked to your opponent's turret, look at the CS differential, right? So he's going to be missing a lot of this, and the wave is going to bounce and push back, which means Revenge instantly on respawn has to TP back, fix the wave, and Licorice can hold his TP. So he can actually just walk out towards top lane, will have TP advantage. So here it is, Revenge has been getting chipped down, and when we hit those Electro Harpoons, you have that stacked up, perfectly has the overheat, Flame Spitter comes through, flashes forward for those empowered autos in the overheat, and he's happy about that one, knows even though he goes down, it does not matter at all. Revenge gonna be a little bit frustrated with that. You know, is going to end up down on CS. It is about even now. We'll see if Gori can get out of this as Armao is here.
Held on to the flash as long as he could.
So now Licorice gets to collect the wave, and again, he holds TP because the wave is screwed for Revenge, so he has the TP to fix the wave. Licorice just walks back and collects that. Revenge now can look for a roam. This is actually really smart. You know, you have this kind of time where he can't really harass too heavily.
River and Armao, junglers running into each other because the dragon is up on this bot side. So they're hovering around the vicinity. Gori now worrisome with Revenge encroaching upon him, but on the bot side, Unforgiven and Eyla moving forward to get the kill onto Stixxay, who he wants to try and get maybe something out for the last bit of autos, but cannot do so. The survivability of Unforgiven too good as it's traded, and Gori now slammed under turret again with River, who has to give his life in the process. Armao and Revenge still standing with a bit of wave before them if they want to try to connect, but they are double melees, and huhi can't zone off Unforgiven too much as he attempts to get some more damage on that turret.
Yeah, it is the 1-for-1 at the end of the day because Jojo died as well, and the wave is going to be denied again top because that was a roam timer for Revenge, but Licorice had that time to fully shove out the wave, takes a plate, and now is going to have a roam mid of his own here. So we'll see if he can get anything back. The waves have definitely been in the favor of Licorice off these last couple of plays. This is smart from EG though, because the base in the match would be so delayed from Revenge. You just send Jojo up, send him straight up towards top lane off of respawn. Revenge will push out one more wave, and then they'll likely just swap back. We'll see Jojo move back down towards mid after this next wave does come through. But Licorice looking for the play.
Equalizer down, zones off Jojo, and Licorice knocked back by Jojo. Knows that Revenge is coming through Riverside, throws out a barrel, gets a little bit of a slam, but Licorice able to pick up some juicy fruit on the way out.
Yeah, gonna be okay, and because he still has that TP, he can collect this wave, and if he needs to, can TP back. Not the best equalizer there from Licorice, and didn't have the best heat management either. I think there was an opportunity for him to get that 1v1 kill, but because he didn't overheat for the all-in, and because he didn't get enough damage out from that ulti, couldn't really fully commit to it, right? When you spend all your spells and you don't overheat, you have nothing to actually do. Your autos don't do a lot. When you overheat, you get the attack speed, you get the bonus magic damage on those autos. So potentially could have looked for it, but I don't think he was keeping his heat high enough when he was actually camping in the brush and waiting. So potentially a little bit of a misplay there from Licorice. But at the end of the day, he survives, he collects the wave, he gets his base off, still has TP advantage. And it is that faster unleashed TP now at 10 minutes, so we'll see if he can make anything happen with it.
And Revenge and Gori continuing to slam away down here with the ultimate going out. Gori looking to lock on to Jojo, but all the while the 3v2 down bot. Licorice was moving up from Fountain directly towards mid.
Yeah, tried to find that play mid lane. Revenge does get a good ulti down, but Jojo can't connect on the Shock Blast, and without that landing, they don't have enough damage to actually finish off Gori. Who is pretty durable on the Cassante with that W to absorb. Also pops the ulti to create space, reset the spells, is able to dash out to safety and keep that bounty alive, which is very important. Now, Revenge has been spending a lot of time moving around the map, but it does mean he's pretty down on CS. Stixxay, you'll notice, is staying ahead of huhi because he has the cleanse available, so if Armao spends his ulti, then it's just going to be cleansed out, right? The only guaranteed kill target there would be huhi, so that is why the AD in this position was standing closer to the enemy jungler.
And with the amount of time that Armao spent down bot, GG is very aware of their movement towards mid. We've seen so much cross-map movement, and especially when you have these champions that aren't necessarily one's position to have to be locked in lane. I think Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses have been extremely responsive to their opposing team and where the biggest threat is posed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just been so much map movement, right? You know, Licorice is getting the push. He moves down. He cheats down towards bot side, you know, trying to see if he can get anything here. Armao should be able to secure this with a smite, and he will. But it's going to mean River's just going to straight up start up this Herald. And there's not going to be much of a contest, I don't think, at least yet. But you can see Jayce is still down bot side. He doesn't have his TP yet, so I don't think EG should be able to challenge Unforgiven just coming out from base right now. So that is going to be kind of that trade that they end up making. Gori moving down bot to actually match the Jayce, so they won't be giving up much. Maybe one plate, but I don't even think that's going to happen here, as Gori's going to be able to keep this safe.
Eyla coming for assistance on to Jojo. Still plenty of plates for the taking here past 10 minutes. And just with that pressure on bot side, it means that Armao can start up this dragon as Gori holds his own with the ushering of this wave. I really feel like we've got a game of musical chairs with the way both of these teams are moving across the map just to respond to some of this pressure. But it means a delayed take on the neutral objective on the bot side, with Dragon coming down in the double-digit mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these teams have been really, really active on the map, right? So it's going to be about how you respond to that movement. What can you trade? Can you one-up your opponents? If they get top tower, can you get bot tower and a jungle camp? If they get Herald, can you get Dragon and something else and a plate? And that's what these teams really are trying to do, and that's what this game becomes about when these players are so active on the map. You have to respect the map movements. You can't be too timid, though, or your opponents will just always be trading up. And now Golden Guardians moving up towards top side. Blue buff was secured by River. This could mean trouble here on that top side, because they do have the Herald available. So if Revenge moves too far out, I think they have a good idea that he's going to be in that brush. Yep, they're looking for him.
For connecting with the Q, River makes sure to start this up for the rest of the team. Revenge retreating to the outgo. Multiple ultimates thrown down by Stixxay and huhi just for the security. But it's time for them to throw this Rift Herald up top for these plates. Bought enough time for that wave to usher forward as well. 3 members of Evil Geniuses here to contest to ensure that it's not a maximum value Shelly for the side of Golden Guardians.
Yep, they do get a couple of plates there. They get the kill as well. Yes, they committed the ultimates, but you can see they clearly did not want to waste time with it. And they also knew to back off as soon as they actually saw those extra members. So River, huhi were not spotted there, but they know that Gragas is in the area, and he's expecting that he's either recalling the brush or he's straight in it. Even if he doesn't hit the hook straight up, he's then in the brush, he hooks onto the wall, he can find that ultimate. So they get the kill, they drop the Herald. River then plays bodyguard in that tri-brush to spot whoever's going to be able to come up to answer. They back off as soon as they're there, grab a couple plates, extend the advantage for themselves. And things looking pretty good on both sides, honestly. You know, you can see Stixxay already has the Storm Razor completed. A lot of people have been rushing Kraken that we've seen so far on Lucian, but Storm Razor also a really nice one-item spike. The additional move speed that you're getting with that, plus the move speed from the Nami passive that you're being given, if you can really play that well, can work out great. And there's a lot of things to dodge. You know, the Sejuani ult, things like the Gragas engages as well, Shock Blast and so on, sniper shots and so on from Unforgiven. So we'll see what he can make from that move speed. The front line looking pretty good here too, as Even Shroud's already completed for River, so that is going to amp the burst of all his teammates. You have that guaranteed point and click CC, and then Even Shroud makes whoever you're CCing take that bonus damage, you know, 10% increased damage for 5 seconds anytime you're actually immobilized. And that is going to make it really, really scary for Unforgiven and Jojo.
But Unforgiven himself now hitting that Kraken Slayer, so continuing on in that build, because while Golden Guardians were able to bring a little bit more of that lead, see if they lose any of it here as Gori gets caught out by Armao and multiple members of Evil Geniuses. Aqua Prison thrown out as well as a Tidal Wave to get that knockup on the backside, but in the end, Gori goes down. River and huhi do not want to overcommit in an attempt to save him, so they give 1 life over.
Yeah, they can see the Unforgiven is mid, and Gori is just kind of caught. He walks a bit of a dangerous path there. They were down numbers in that area of the map. Stixxay was not really in a position to respond, so they just finished the red buff, they push out bot, they give her that kill, but it's a shutdown going the way of Jojo, who's going to be clawing back into this 1v1 as a result. He's now ahead on gold because he gets, I think it was a 450 shutdown, plus he's already up about 20 CS. So Jojo going to be completing his first item here pretty soon. As you can see, K'Sante just TPing right back down towards bot, answering Jojo, who will go back to base, probably finish his first item. Knows that River is in the area. Perhaps he does not.
Aqua Prison over the wall, followed up with the dredge line and the root from the hit from River. Armao just salting right over the wall, thumbs up on the exit.
Nicely played. He's just kind of juking back and forth. You know, he doesn't want to actually hit River with that Q, or he's going to be stuck and potentially have to blow that flash to get out. So juking back and forth, gets a little bit of space, is able to jump over the wall. Now River looking to threaten around mid. He has the Hex Flash. Could potentially, he actually just has a regular flash up right now, so could potentially look for the play, but it would be pretty aggressive.
The explosive cast, though, that forces River to relocate, and the teleport coming in from Golden Guardians. Wild growth onto the Revenge here in the front line. Equalizer thrown down directly across the jungle to separate Revenge from Eyla and Unforgiven, who retreat under the mid turret.
Gets the flash out of Unforgiven there, and they kill off of Eyla, so that's a great TP from Licorice, but now you have to see what can EG get top lane. Because it is the push top lane for the Jayce. He's going to be looking to try to chop up this turret as fast as possible. K'Sante working on that bot lane tower as well. Does have machine completed, so he's going to be breaking through that pretty quick. Gori is going to be knocking down that turret. He's also playing Demolish, so you can be kind of deceptively quick to knock down those turrets. Jojo looks like he should be able to finish this off. We'll see if his W's up in time. No, not quite, I think, going to be able to actually finish it. Licorice is here. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome. Would have to wait for the next wave, but not going to have the damage to be able to push off Licorice and finish the turret. So they take one bot, they defend their top tier 1, and Golden Guardians maintaining that 1,000-ish gold lead.
Licorice fast walking to make sure that tower didn't go down, but that gold lead was around 800 prior, and then Evil Geniuses were able to get that pick on Gori to even things up, and then now once again Golden Guardians swinging it slightly their way. It's still been extremely back and forth, and Evil Geniuses now working towards that dragon win condition of stacking up their second. Yeah,
this one is really close, and we're going to see what is going to be the spawn for the Soul here. You can see Jojo also going towards the Gore Drinker. It is a 3 melee team, so you can get more value off of that active. But really, it just feels to me like most people just like Gore Drinker Jayce because they like Omnivamp. And the Omnivamp just helps kind of keep them healthy in those side lanes. You're not going to get poked down as much if you're side laning by something like the Rumble, poking and prodding away at you. But there is those opportunities to sometimes go hammer form and get in the middle of these triple melee champions and get a really good activation to try to turn around a fight. As that was really close to actually hitting, but EG looks like they want to be actually fighting this one. Revenge does have TP. We'll see if he's actually going to commit. They gave up that first Herald for the trade on the Dragon on the bottom side, but now Revenge is going to be TPing it, so they want to fight.
Teleport, dredge line onto Armao. This ushered the Wild Growth in response, and the Equalizer on the jungle side. Tidal Wave thrown down, root onto Licorice. Explosive cast throws huhi and Stixxay away, but Revenge and Jojo are on the retreat. River closing the gap. Revenge flashing over the wall. Golden Guardians taking some damage, but not losing anybody on the team, which means they can go right back over towards that Rift Herald.
Yeah, really nicely done. They knew that Revenge was down on bot side, and even though he has TP, they just initially engaged so quickly that even by the time the TP arrives, Armao's basically out of the fight, right? It's not really much for him to do by the time he gets there. You can see it's a pretty quick response on the TP, but Gori finds Armao. They have the follow-up damage coming through. The bubble is there after the lockdown from River, and they throw the Equalizer down across the side, zoning away Eyla. It's on the TP as well, so it's hitting multiple members there. Congratulations to huhi, moving up to 5th all-time now for assists in the LCS. Across those 2 roles, has had quite an impressive career and a bit of a resurgence, it feels like, over these last couple of years for him.
Licorice getting into the face of Revenge a bit over on the bot side, but multiple EG members lurking abound. And yeah, speaking of huhi, I mean, huhi and Stixxay being a very important component of the success of Golden Guardians prior. Huhi with a wide champion pool, but clearly has no problem sticking to what's working for the team. Really great usage of those Aqua Prisons and being able to zone out with that tidal wave. Working well for Golden Guardians in this squad. But again, when looking at Golden Guardians too and what they're bringing, that Equalizer throwing down in the jungle, you always have to be worried when going against a team with a Rumble when fighting in close quarters, which is what you're doing around major objectives. So it is up to Licorice to make sure you use that ultimate effectively in those scenarios, which he did for them to be able to secure that Rift Herald.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to see him really pairing it with the other CC ultimates. That is the big thing for me. When you just go fishing with the Rumble ult, it's usually not going to get high value. But when you pair it with the Nautilus ult into the Nami wave, into the Nautilus hook, into the Nautilus root, like all these things start landing, all of a sudden there's nothing you can really do to answer it. Because the composition here on Golden Guardian's side is like almost entirely ultimate based, right? It's all about, you know, the culling and the Nautilus ulti and the Rumble ulti and all these different things getting really kind of overlapped together to try to get a big team fight win. So they have to be careful. If you don't have perfect layering of that, it can go bad.
Speaking of ultis, Armao targeting Licorice, and the tidal wave response from huhi to zone off evil geniuses. So Flash expelled by Licorice and heal by huhi.
Yeah, nicely done. Catches him with that ulti, and it's going to be forcing out a couple summoners there. Oh, good hook, though.
Another hook onto Eyla. Has to ult himself. The culling over the wall can't quite reach, but Golden Guardians making sure to hit the go button when they see an opportunity. River being at the front hand of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they know Revenge is still bot, right? So they're trying to force some sort of plays around top because they have the extra man there. Revenge, though, does take that tier 1 down bot, and it's going to be pushing up the wave as well towards that tier 2, so someone will have to go down bot to answer him. Going to be able to get the heal and the ulti off of Eyla at least. And then they were being pretty annoying, just playing nonstop around in the top side of EG's jungle, utilizing this Nautilus any time someone walks up to try to look for that hook. But, you know, Nautilus is going to potentially have some difficulties, you know, if he falls too far behind, so he needs to still cycle some of these camps. Make sure he's keeping up in levels, keeping up in that itemization. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes Anathemas, and it's just like an Anathemas onto Unforgiven. Just reduce that tenacity, constantly throw the CC on him. That's going to be guaranteed, and try to really make it a difficult game for Unforgiven.
And for the AD carries, Gale Force completed on both sides. The majority of Golden Guardians hovering around bot with 28 seconds to go before that third Drake spawns. This would be sole point for Evil Geniuses. Golden Guardians having acquired more of the objectives on the top side with both Rift Heralds, still holding on to that second to throw down, probably in time for the Dragon.
Yep, exactly. Going to be looking to use it there. Armao does have the ulti in a second or two, in a couple seconds here, it's going to be back up, so they'll have to watch out for that. That's, again, why Stixxay needs to be the one kind of closest to him if they're trying to contest that mid wave. But the minions are pretty far away, and the Dragon's already spawned, so if EG stay mid, they have to try to threaten a potential Baron trade here. These very rarely work out, I feel like, if I'm going to be honest, because you can just potentially leave one person down on the Dragon. Instead, Golden Guardian is going to fully respawn with 5. They're killing this quick, though. We'll see if Golden Guardians can actually get there in time, but this is, you're all in the Baron pit against Rumble.
Is Gori going to do something to try to prevent that from happening? There's the equalizer thrown down. Baron Nashor secured by Armao, but Golden Guardian still in pursuit. Knock up onto Jojo, who wants to try to take Gori down with him with the Aqua Prison to finish him off. River at the front line, keeping his eyes locked onto Unforgiven. A couple knockups in favor of Golden Guardians, and with the root onto Revenge, he has to flash away. Golden Guardians, they lose 2 in this pursuit. 2 still down for Evil Geniuses. Revenge so low, but keeps up.
And look at mid lane. The Herald is actually taking down the tier 2. It's going towards that tier 1, bot lane. You know, pushing in. It's going to get another turret, so that was not being answered during this whole play. They do get the Baron. I definitely underestimated the damage that they could get done with the Kraken already completed and the white gun available. Unforgiven shredded this thing, but Stixxay may have overstayed his welcome. Revenge is going to be hunting. If he E's over, he's going to spot him now, and now, this is going to be tough for Stixxay. TP coming behind him as well. He's definitely dead. We'll see if they can try to rush the Dragon on bot side to get something back, but Armao's already down there as well, so I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think Golden Guardians have the damage to actually kill the Dragon before EG can respond.
Yeah, no sums, no nothing from Stixxay for him over on this top side, but yep, over on bot, that Dragon still standing, no action taken to it just yet because of the fact that there wasn't too much of a commitment on that top side. And now, though, the gold that had just crested to 2K before some of those previous Baron skirmishes, now with the Red Bull Baron buff for Evil Geniuses, they're able to reap that one back.
Yeah, going to be able to grab the Dragon here, move the soul point as well. Armao just covering down on bot side. They know with Lucian not there, there's just not really any damage between Gori and huhi and River to actually kill that Dragon off quickly while the enemy was up on top side. Gori trying to delay this as much as they can. And Unforgiven just kind of committed to it. Between the Jayce and this Aphelios, they really shredded through it very, very quickly. The equalizer was pretty good from Licorice, slowing them down and getting that initial damage down. They do get this kill on the Jojo. You can see Unforgiven, though, picks off 1 kill, getting Gori back on the other side. And then it's just Golden Guardians just piling in, everyone committing, trying to clean up as many of these Baron buffs as they can. Unfortunately, Licorice couldn't get over the wall. Stixxay does get in for 1 more kill. But it is 3 Baron buffs that were protected for EG. And at the end of the day, they do walk away with the Baron buff, so are going slightly gold positive, and they got soul point. So EG in a pretty darn good position in this game. And it's going to be up to Golden Guardians to really try to find those excellent engages, try to find those windows where the Lucian can outperform the Aphelios, which as you get later and later in the game, they become fewer and further between.
In the previous fights where Stixxay was able to get the culling effectively on the target that GG was going for, it was kind of long Riverside, for instance, getting a lock onto Armao, making sure that the jungler was no longer a threat for Evil Geniuses. But can they set that up again as they encroach upon the rest of this game? Evil Geniuses wanting to keep some safety around this tier 2 turret. That is something that Golden Guardians got going for him. River always throwing out those cues. And the pressure they were able to create on the map from that Rift Herald dropping on bot side has at least opened one avenue for them to kind of really mitigate some of the advantages that Evil Geniuses have been able to snowball after these past few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, River was lucky that that hook didn't connect, because there was 4 members there. I think if he actually takes that hook, he is dead.
Nautilus
he has no
problem.
flash. So lucky that he did not connect. River kind of grouped with the team here. Everyone just grouping up right now. It is a slow pushing wave from Golden Guardians on that bot side. So it's good for them to actually group, because it's going to be a response that has to be forced by EG. EG needs to send someone back there because there's no inhibitor tower. So if that gets ignored for too long, eventually it will push up, really be able to make some problems for them. So Unforgiven gonna be able to fix the wave. This is gonna give Golden Guardians a little bit of time, take topside scuttle, potentially get some vision down around that Baron area, which will be the next objective here coming up. And Gori's gonna shove out top as well. Red buff will get donated down to Stixxay. So just kind of doing all those chores that you have to get done before these next potential objectives.
Have less than 2 minutes time until that Baron spawns, and while Golden Guardians are positioned to try and set those wards, Evil Genius is doing somewhat of the same. Revenge continually safely stepping into that tri-bush where they already have their own control ward down to try and get some sights on Golden Guardians.
And a really big buy just came through there for Unforgiven. Has the Lord Dominic's Regards now completed. Gori is so tanky, is just really stacking armor up here. He knows he's not really under threat from the Gragas at all, so it's really just Jayce and Aphelios. So stacking that armor, super important for him. You can see armor going to be purchased up as well by River in the jungle. So now that the Lord Dominic's Regards is through, with that Lulu behind him, he can really start punishing these tanks. He already has Kraken, and now he has that LDR, so it's a very high DPS build here. And it's going to make him really difficult to deal with if they don't have the pressure on him. You have to have CC on him. You have to have threat on this Aphelios so he's not free firing. Because if EG creates space for him, it's going to be one fight.
And on a strong player at that, I think one of the sleeper pickups for Evil Geniuses going into summer. It's your Summer 2022 LEC first All-Pro bot laner that came into the NACL and was making waves, and people thinking, what's he doing on 100 Thieves Academy? Racking up pentas galore, and now making this statement into the LCS with Evil Geniuses, his real chance to shine in this league.
Well, and it was really clear from watching him in Academy that he didn't belong there, right?
Yeah.
Like he was way too good for that league. Is really a high level player and definitely does deserve to be in a tier 1 league somewhere. So it's great to see him get his shot here in the LCS on EG, and we'll see what he's going to be able to make of it. And the expectations, as the analysts have talked about, were not that high for EG coming into the split, because you looked at this roster that had championship aspirations. You dropped 4 of your members, and people were like, well, what are you going to do now? And so far, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. But Golden Guardians, seeing if they can make a good look over on this Baron side. They know that Evil Geniuses are lurking. Look at that Q through the acceleration gate onto huhi. The River moving on up. Revenge blasting on down. Has a wild growth to keep him up. The equalizer already used by Licorice. Baron brought down to 50% HP. But look at that blast damage onto Unforgiven. Luckily able to Gale Force out there and more. River eliminated. Double kill for Jojo. And Golden Guardians, they lose 3. Polymorph onto Licorice means that Armao can get the lockdown with Eyla and Revenge ready to finish him off. Golden Guardians peeled off of the Baron, and Evil Geniuses take the fight.
Unforgiven just barely able to survive there. But again, it's all about the ultimates for Golden Guardians and this initial equalizer. So watch how far Licorice backs off. He's on the bottom of your screen. He backs off. And he's not in range to actually drop the equalizer right away. He has to walk back to get the equalizer down after the CC has actually expired. So he gets, what, maybe 1 tick onto Revenge? It's just not good enough to win a fight at this point in the game. Imagine his equalizer here when that hook lands. Unforgiven is absolutely absolutely dead and it's not even close, right? And the fight then looks completely different if you have those ultimates being perfectly used, but they were not coordinated on the engage, didn't get it down, and it does mean that Jojo gets so much work done. Unforgiven survives, he pushes up mid, they take the Baron, they take that tier 1 mid, and now they're setting up here for Soul Point, so this could be the last hurrah for Golden Guardians, and now this far down with the Baron buff on their opponents, it's got to be a perfect engage for Golden Guardians to have any chance.
Another fight opened with a heavy Q onto huhi from Jojo, and Golden Guardians fearful of the lock onto Gori. That poke is just going to continually rain down from Evil Geniuses until you get the explosive cast to separate Gori from everyone. Lulu coming in with a little bit of utility that did you even really need it. The lock was so good onto Golden Guardians. Mid laner here for Evil Geniuses to push forward, get themselves that soul. Baron buff still for 2 more minutes. Gold lead at 3.5. EG are keeping all their hopes alive.
Yeah, they're looking really, really good. Gori just got shredded, and he even got the Gargoyle Stoneplate active off, and it just did nothing. He died pretty much instantaneously there. EG have really, it feels like, just kind of outscaled at this point. Unforgiven is king on the map at this point of the game. You can see Revenge even pushing up bot. They're going to drop the equalizer, just kind of clear out the wave, but it's not going to mean much. Unforgiven's going to heal right back up. You got a little bit of a chunk onto Eyla. Bot lane is still pushing. They're going to TP, trying to look for one more play here. We'll see if they can find anything.
Eyes on Unforgiven to see if he can remain protected, eat so much of the culling, and Gori separating Armao from the rest. Tidal wave to get the knock on to Jojo. Armao, subject of the wild growth. Revenge is looking for the angle. A route onto River. Armao still alive, and Jojo also marked down very low. It's Gori eliminated in this fight thus far, and Revenge keeping that set onto River means he's ripped on down. Double kill again for Jojo, and Licorice in the enemy jungle with Revenge and Armao on his back. Stixxay going in the opposite direction with Evil Geniuses in the base of Golden Guardians.
They just have to stop the recalls. Even if they die, it doesn't matter because EG has already won the game.
They're finishing it off. Evil Geniuses, a strong statement, bounding into summer with a surprising new look, and now 2 wins to show for it.
Nicely done from EG. Jojo with a little bit of banter in the all chat at the end says, gank Jojo. Back-to-back good games from him, 8 and 4 on the Jayce. Was a big difference maker in the team fights. But Golden Guardians just not really able to get enough done with this composition that was, again, kind of early game focused, weren't able to coordinate perfectly on those engages, weren't able to use those ultimates to maximum effect. And EG played a calm, cool, collected game. Hit a certain point where you just could not deal with Unforgiven and Jojo, couldn't really get access to them through that front line. And EG going to be able to have a great bounce back game. This is an important one for them. Another good game, not a bounce back game. Would have been a bounce back game on the other side, but EG starting out really, really hot. Back-to-back wins here for a team that I think people weren't expecting that much from, right? I think people thought they were going to be maybe middle of the pack, and people I think are going to be reevaluating a lot of their assumptions about this squad because they just took down Golden Guardians. They had a great game yesterday, and there's not really a ton to criticize about their play so far.
While so many had predicted them in the middle of the pack, it feels like they were also a lot of disparity in where in the middle of the pack because of the individual prowess of each of these players. How long is it going to take for them to synergize? But they were working well together today. Yeah,
absolutely. These guys have a lot to prove. There's all 5 members, I think, that are really, really hungry on EG to really show what they can get done this year. And you can see working well in this team fight. The positioning was great. They all kite down. They pull Golden Guardians in this really awkward position where they cannot move forward. Stixxay cannot be hitting while their front line is getting hit. So it's kind of that lose situation where you're not really going to be able to make anything happen. And EG just handled it really well, keep the carries safe. Already had Soul at that point in the game. So just had to make sure they weren't going to fall prey to any sort of perfect engage, protect their backline, and they're able to do just that. So really well done. I think, Jojo, people are going to be happy to see him kind of back in form, having a couple of really good games for himself because spring was not what was expected. He was really confident coming into spring, I know, was saying he thought he was going to win the MVP. Did not have a great split, compared to what we saw from the previous year, but it feels like he really has kind of committed himself to performing at a higher level, and so far it's paying off.
I think that's why one of the most intriguing things from his interview yesterday on the stage with Jatt was that he learned a lot in Korea, but also his mentality changed. We know how well he can play. Can he have the mental fortitude to back that up throughout the entirety of the split? Well, 2 wins is one way to set the tone,
Don't get
that's
cocky.
for sure. Yeah, don't get cocky. Keep that meditation going. But LCS fans everywhere, remember, Fantasy LCS is happening on Sleeper. It is not too late to sign up and start a league with your friends, then crush their dreams with your own LCS super team. You can head on over to sleeper.com or sleeper.app to give it a try. For now, though, we are joining Jatt once again with Eyla for our Verizon postgame interview.
Thank you very much, Gabby. Yes, I'm joined by Eyla. First 2 games of Spring Split for FlyQuest, you were still having visa issues. First 2 games for Evil Geniuses, you have a 2-0. Do you want to talk a little bit about how much or how different the start of this split feels compared to last split for you?
Yeah, I think this split has started off very well. I mean, everyone on the team has been very nice, you know. EG formed this team with like a bunch of like random people from every team, you know. Unforgiven was in Academy, Revenge was in a different team. Armao wasn't even playing last split, so it was a very hectic start, but I think everyone on this team knows we're good enough to win. And I think even though everyone might be surprised of this 2-0, I've always been like, we're good enough, you know. Last split wasn't what it was expected to be, and we'll show how good we are.
Yeah, and there was a big rivalry is developing between you and Vulcan, because last split, there was so much back and forth with you two on Twitter between you and Winsome, and then just the ridiculousness of the offseason actually has you swapping teams. And so many people saw that at the time as like Vulcan taking your spot. But now you're 2-0 and they've started 0-2. Do you have any thoughts on that so far?
Yeah, I mean, Vulcan's not that good. Like, he's trash talking, but he doesn't deserve that. So I think swapping teams, you know, we'll see who's a better support and like who's actually a problem in the team.
All right, well, thank you very much for the interview. FlyQuest, you play them in exactly a week. So next Thursday, look forward to seeing how that one develops. Congratulations on letting you start. Best of luck in the rest of the split.
Thank you.
Let's send it over to the lounge. Thank you, dude.
Welcome back. That's great to hear, honestly. I was wondering how he was going to respond, and just the matter-of-fact way.
He's not running from
great.
it, too. That's amazing.
I love it. All right, let's update the POG leaderboard. I actually don't know who got POG that last game. My guess is going to be Unforgiven. Oh,
Bam.
Jojo. What is tactical?
Who gave him this idea for the pose, man?
Definitely not tactical.
But I love Insanity's pose. That is baller right there.
Yeah, Insanity looks like he's going to crush someone like he crushed in game today as LeBlanc.
The quadra kill was sick.
Yeah, it was fun talking to him, actually, because right before, as we were prepping, I was like, oh, sick LeBlanc. And he was like, yeah, I should have played it yesterday. We would have won then, too.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I do want to point out is, again, like I mentioned Tactical's picture, but honestly, that comeback against NRG, relying on Tactical in a lot of those team fights, I didn't expect them to come back, but they did it, and a lot of it was because of the damage Tactical was dishing out.
Yeah, for people that missed that, I feel like you have to watch at least the back half of that game. That was incredible to see, and I'm sure the IMT social team and they're gonna be going to work to just give us the comms. The comms, you see how excited those players were at the very tail end of that? I want to hear that energy, so that was really fun to see. Evil Geniuses are a big surprise. My focus is on Summit just a little bit because like last split, we expected him to be like even a top 4 top laner, but there were so many issues that really were zeroing in on him. These last 2 games, he's been sick. He has been a major carrier for this team, so I'm really excited. Started the split, new start for IMT, for Team Liquid, and for now Jojopyun. It feels like kind of a revenge tour right from the start.
And let's pull up the standings now that we've covered that, because there are a lot of surprises, as we mentioned. IMT tied with Team Liquid, Honda, Evil Geniuses, and Cloud9 at 2-0. We have 100 Thieves and TSM both at 1-1. And then Dignitas, FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians and NRG all tied at 0-2. Obviously, it's only been 2 days.
Stop the vote.
But this is not the standings that we expected, even after 2 days. And I think the big thing is FlyQuest. So let's see the schedule for tomorrow and see who they are going to be facing, as well as just the rest of the schedule. We've got Immortals Progressive taking on Team Liquid Honda. That should be really interesting, actually, given how both teams have showed up thus far. Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest.
Oh, yeah.
Evil Geniuses versus Dignitas. NRG versus 100 Thieves. Cloud9 versus TSM. those first 2 games are really interesting to me.
It's wild, man. I was about to make the joke about IMT and EG being the best teams in the league. That's why I need to stop where we're at. But with how IMT is playing, it feels like there's already kind of like a brotherhood forming within the team. And yes, Tactical just looks better, and I feel like Treats coming in really does a number for them for that reason, and I'm just excited for Team Liquid's growth. So there's a lot to talk about there.
And there was actual growth from TL, right?
Yeah.
Today we saw, like, I know we were kind of joking after yesterday's game. We're like, ugh, some of those team fights, they were losing.
Yeah.
AK gold up. We're not sure if they have changed, but today I thought their objective setups and their team fight setups were much better.
Yes.
The other big thing is obviously GG taking on FlyQuest. Neither team has won a game yet. I'd ask you who you got.
Win.
Yeah, one team has to win.
Oh my God.
But that'll be for tomorrow. And that is it for us today. We will be back tomorrow, like I said, at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And we will be here next Wednesday and Wednesday through Friday, all split long. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see you guys there.
I don't have a pen to throw.
Welcome to opening week, presented by MasterCard. We're here for day 2 of Summer Split in LCS. It's 2023. It's Cloud9 going up against Dignitas. Santorin going in for that opportunity right now. The Nature's Grab fires out. They wanted to go for Fudge, but he can back away. Now M&S shows up. He flashes forward, and he just kills Tomo underneath the turret in the middle of the rest of Dig. You've still got Blabber back here fighting. He's trying to chop down the tree, but Diamond puts him on a leash. Blabber, however, is absolutely running wild, and Berserker takes down Rich. Tomo and Jensen want to get away, but that bug is hungry. He goes in for the damage. He gets a double kill. The turret shot's going to kill him through the Dusk Blade. It's an absolute fiesta of a fight, but it's C9 partying hard when it's all said and done.
It's good.
Yeah, my ult's at 5.
Okay, my ult's at 5. I do have damage if he ults. Let's just go together. Yeah. Look, any. Trust. David, let's go. David!
Alright, go Nash, no? Nice. Quadra, baby, let's go.
Baby.
Horn's alive, by the way. It's around here still. Yeah, we can do this.
Turrets are gone, the enemy jungler's gone, and FlyQuest cannot get home in time. Insanity and Haunter, the 2 solo lanes for Team Solo Mid, take the win against FlyQuest. 100 Thieves thought they had the angle there, but once Pioshik shows up, they gotta be respectful. Bucio's nearly killed, but instead it's Closer swooping in to pick up Yawn. Now Pioshik's locked up in the bubble, and 100 Thieves have outfought him. Oh, keep everybody else safe. Summit wants to engage. He's found Bucio already, and now they're gonna pick up a second. It's already over with the bottom laners killed off. There's no way the rest of the Thieves can stand and fight, and Team Liquid just dogpiles them. They get 3 for nothing.
Right now, Lightning Crash once again activated. Glacial Prison onto Treats. Done and done. They're still on the Baron. Palafox teleporting in, coming through. You can see the pings over on the
He's no smite! He's no smite!
He's a Fox coming in for the steal! It's multiple members still standing for energy, but not a lot of damage. Palafox going on in to try to get Kenby, but is not successful. Tactical ripping up too much damage. Immortals begin their ascent of summer with 2 wins. River at the front line, keeping his eyes locked onto Unforgiven. A couple knockups in favor of Golden Guardians, and with a root on to Revenge, he has to flash away. Baron brought down to 50% HP, but look at that blast damage onto Unforgiven. Luckily, able to Gale Force out there and more. River eliminated. Double kill for Jojo. And Golden Guardians, they lose 3. Evil Geniuses, a strong statement. Bounding into summer with a surprising new look, and now 2 wins to show for it.